Friends, greetings, salutations, what's up? Let's talk about what happened today in the stock market. So today went pretty much like a lot of us thought it would go. Last night when I was like, pretty much this is what happened. The market held strong today. We saw things come back to a point, but really there was no more like just an onslaught of murdering going on today. Essentially, like, stocks pretty much they rebound in the sense of like they just didn't go down more. Pretty much everything just stayed where it was today. Some things came back like a 2-3% on top of the loss here, but mostly it was a good day in the sense nothing else was lost here. So obviously the big news here that just happened here hours ago, Nvidia came out with their quarterlies, and they were great quarterlies. I mean, they beat expectations again, not like crazy amount. I mean, people are obviously, it's a mixed emotion right now. And this is how the last quarterlies went too, when people were like, wanting more. I mean, I think the majority of, there's a lot of people that are just wanting them to hit the $40 billion quarterly here, but they just came a little short. But still, this is great. I mean, this is all in all. I mean, my God, this company's making so much money right now, and they just, they just hit another one here. They hit another one out of the park. So right now, I think this is going to do good for the market. It's definitely not bad. The main thing that we can get from Nvidia releasing these quarterlies, and I'm not even going to talk about Nvidia long here. I'm really not, because to me, Nvidia is still in this season of it's still just growing. It's slower now, but it's still growing. And now, they've got the new Blackwell chip. Things are doing. There's a lot going on with Nvidia. So with this right now, this right now is really, it was like, we know Nvidia is going to do well with quarterlies. The question was, how well? Are they going to be like face melting quarterlies? Are they going to be okay quarterlies? Or are they going to be like they just hit? Well, they were right in the middle. So the market is reacting to it, and the market, even after it closed, and then the Nvidia report came out here, the earning, and then stuff started to stabilize back up even more, because at the end of the day here, things sold off again. And then, once these quarterlies came out with Nvidia, it was like, okay, all right. So it's showing that Nvidia is going to probably continue to do well into 2025 here. I mean, my God, they're coming out with even bigger quarterlies than last year. I mean, people are still not like, there's people, the greed in the market. I mean, like, it's just crazy. So with that, like I said, if you want to read the report on Nvidia, like what they made, cash, go ahead. I'm not going to go over all the numbers. It's all there. The main story that happened here today was that Nvidia came out with quarterlies that are doing well for the market. Okay, and that's what we needed to get the market, some pulse back in the market, get some blood back in the veins of the market here, and we're seeing that right now. So this is what I think. This is the real good thing here, more than anything. So let's move on to Big Bear. I'll talk about Nvidia later, but listen, everyone's talking about Nvidia today. Like there's hundreds of videos out there today with Nvidia. It did what it needed to do. So let's move on to Big Bear. Like I said, so Big Bear right now, Big Bear is still very interesting, and obviously holding huge positions in Big Bear. A lot of us sold out, bought back in, made new positions, taking the profit, putting it back in. Everyone's doing their own thing here with Big Bear, obviously. The stock is holding right under $6 here, and Big Bear today, for a split second, like most stocks, went up today this morning around noon. Big Bear here touched a little over $6, then started to sell back off towards the end of the day. Then Nvidia came out with their earnings today, and Nvidia Big Bear went up a slight bit to end the day here in this almost 570 mark. So still, to me, this is very good. This is me. I think there's a majority of us right now that are in Big Bear right now. There's people that have been here for a month or two, maybe even longer, a lot longer. and you've been buying Big Bear at $1, $2, $3, $4. Maybe you bought Big Bear, right before it really started to take off here just a few weeks ago, before the deals came out. And you're sitting, right at $4 or $5. You're just right in profit range right now, and you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to start adding a little more Big Bear. I saw comments today, people are doing that. So, to me, Big Bear is still very juicy that something could just unexpectedly happen here this year. I mean, the deals that Big Bear's already gotten, they've come out of nowhere. No one was expecting this. When I was talking about Big Bear 2-3 months ago at this point, I was telling people that. I was like, listen, Big Bear is a complete wild card. There's no guarantee that this is going to do well this year. And we didn't have any inclination that, did I say it right? That Big Bear was going to get those 2 deals that they just got. And they hadn't even announced a new CEO at that point. So, I'm not in the bear camp, obviously. So if you're bearish about Big Bear here, you're obviously upset with me talking about this. I get that. But listen, I've told people time and time again, Big Bear there's no guarantee right now. It's a wild card. It's something that, like, for me personally, it's something that I think what I see in the general market and what I see in investors' attention right now, and I saw this a few months ago, was that what Big Bear is offering business-wise, price-wise, opportunity-wise, I was like, this is something that I am going to take this capital over here, I'm going to put it in Big Bear, and I'm going to see what happens. It's a total Vegas gamble, okay? Now, obviously, it's paid off at this moment, but obviously, I want to see what Big Bear really turns into here throughout the year, because there could be some more contracts here. Listen, think about it this way, okay? And I know I sound like a broken record. You guys are like, God almighty, he won't shut up about Big Bear. I know. I'll say this and I'll move on. Big Bear's already gotten that $200 million contract. Now, that's not a lot of money considering AI stocks, okay? I get it. And that's split over, I think it was 4 or 5 years. Still, but that's good when you think about it, what I'm about to say here. And then they got the other one here recently that was littler, but still, it's money in the bank account for them. Think if Big Bear here gets another government contract for, let's say they get $500 million contract with the government defense for 3 to 4 years, $500 million. Okay. Now, obviously, there's people that are going to hear me say that, and they're going to go, well, the defense department is cutting the budget. Why would Big Bear get another contract? We don't know what they're cutting. Okay. So I was saying that 2 weeks when all this went down with the defense contracts, defense budget being cut, which started this slaying in the market here. It was just a broad statement. Like, they didn't say what they were cutting necessarily. They may be cutting the coffee, expense. They may be cutting crazy things. We don't know. But what it could do, it could allocate more money to be put in a lot of these defense companies. Don't get this wrong. And one thing that we know from Trump, one thing that we've seen with Trump, and we know what he's doing right now, and you're blind to see this, he is going to spend a lot of money on defense. And he's already said that. Defense, AI. So, Big Bear here already being in that zone, it's a very, very telltale sign that something more could happen here. So, to me, Big Bear is just too juicy to not pay attention to. And I think a lot of people see that. So, I'm selfishly hoping that Big Bear may trickle back down to a high $4 range if we see another bad day here in the market, which is very possible because these next 2 days in the market are going to be very, very intense. Tomorrow we have some reports coming out. Friday, really big reports coming out. So the market could either start to pulse right back up and like we're just chugging along, going back up in some nice prices. The S&P is going up again, or we're going to start to fade down here. And, Nvidia did good today to help the market. Like, okay, we're going to start moving up the mountain again. But these next 2 days, these are going to be really intense for the market, and they're really going to matter. So, why I say selfishly I wouldn't mind to see Big Bear go back down to this high $4 range, which I think it could. I think it will, if Big Bear does not come out with some news here. I think people are going to get impatient. I think people are going to forget about it. I think people are going to just lose attention. They're going to lose attention. They're going to lose patience. And Big Bear could start to lose this $5 position for a moment. Now, with that, why would I want that? I would want that because what I'm looking for Big Bear right now is the Q1 of 2025, Q2 of 2025, quarterlies, earnings. I want to buy more Big Bear. I want to buy more of it, okay? Now, when I say that, I'm not telling you to go buy Big Bear, okay? This is my wild card. Every year I like to find a stock that is like in this middle range where I'm like, this might work, this might not work. Last year, honestly, my one stock that was Fubo. It may have been longer than Fubo, but I sold out of Fubo. I made a video a while back about that. I thank God I got out of Fubo at the right moment, and I took some profit, and a lot of that profit actually went right into Big Bear. But Fubo is just... And Fubo's actually, I think they're reporting earnings tomorrow, the next day. And if you're in Fubo, I'm not saying anything bad about Fubo, but for me, it just already Big Bear's paid off so much more than what Fubo did for me in a whole year. Okay, now, my love for it is just not there, and I just can't be in it right now. So, for all the people that love Fubo, I'm not trying to get you to hate me. I'm just saying, and I'm not, because I know there's there's people on YouTube that are in Fubo that I highly respect. It's just not something that I'm in at the moment. I would probably start another hefty position in Big Bear because I'm suspicious that something more could happen. Like I said, Big Bear is just, it's going to take one more big deal. Even a middle ground. Even if we see another $200 million deal come out with Big Bear, it's going to change the earning pattern for Big Bear later into this year, when that stuff starts compounding on top of each other, when these deals start compounding on top of each other, okay? So really think about that. Now, obviously, last thing here I'll address, obviously Fubo is coming out with earnings here March 6th. Now, I don't think these quarterlies are going to be really anything special. I don't believe so. Like I said, it's really the Q1, Q2 of 2025 here that I want to see. That's really what I'm looking for here. So, friends, and then, going over to Palantir and Tempest here, Palantir holding this $90 position. I'm going to be honest, I think it's going to be difficult for Palantir to lose much more ground. I mean, this is a defining number right here with Palantir, because this was the number, this high $80 position before the Q4 came out to really shoot it up and over that $100 range. So there's a lot of people that there's a dam right here at this $80 position where people are holding. So it's going to take a lot more damage in the market for Palantir to lose this $80 ground here. You can see it in the chart. It's 100%, to the eyes. You can see when this was formed, why it's there. It's a past buildup into this $80 position. People are holding this $80 position because this was right before earnings came out, this $80 position. And then when the quarterly came out, I mean, it was just massive buy-in, and the stock went into that over $100 range. So could we see more damage? These next 2 days will tell. These next 2 days are very, very critical for the market. We are playing Vegas roulette right now. I mean, in the next 2 days, there's no guarantee that good or bad things are going to happen. It's just like, we're just going to wait and see what the reports come out here. But still, Palantir, I mean, if you're in Palantir for the long run, I think many people are buying Palantir right now. I know they're buying Palantir. I have a friend who's buying Palantir right now because I know somebody personally was like, man, I wish I would have bought Palantir when it was at $70-$80. I was like, well, here it is, here it is, because what do we know? More than likely, Palantir is going to continue to murder quarterlies this year, and it's going to shoot back up into $100, $120 range here within the next handful of days, weeks here, at seeing where the market finds itself here. In Tempest, Tempest, I mean, this might be the reset for Tempest here. People are obviously buying back into Tempest. Nancy this is her stock. This is her thing. I even saw like somebody make a TikTok video here about Tempest today, and like people were just all over that video, and it was interesting to me because like I really haven't listened to anybody else talk about Tempest, but obviously I think everyone knows what's going on with Tempest. It's no secret at this point. I mean, as soon as Nancy had to come out publicly and say that she invested in Tempest with those call options, everyone's been on Tempest here. So if we get the market up and rolling again here, which, like I said, the next 48 hours will tell us, but Tempest more than likely is going to start rolling up again here into this, high $60, $70, $80 range here, more than likely. And I wouldn't be shocked to see over this year Tempest, depending where the market's going here, going to $100 range here, because there's something going on with Tempest, and obviously when Tempest starts to release quarterlies here, it's going to be a telltale sign of what's really happening here. DJ Team, Trumpy Wumpies, Truth Social here. So this is the stock, sweet stock that I've been talking about for years now, and obviously last year it came to the market, and here we are. So this stock obviously is highly, highly still manipulated by investors, and that's okay. We'll take it because there's money to be made here. Now, this stock sold off to right at $20 here with this fall, so here's more than likely what I think is probably going to happen here. This stock has no problem. And listen, this is not me telling you to buy it. This is just kind of my mindset of what I think might happen here. So this stock, obviously, what do we know? It's highly manipulated. It has no problem getting to a $30 to $35 range here very easily pushed to that number. It has no problem finding, sharks, bulls to push it when news is coming here. So news is around the corner here. What is that news? The State of the Union, Trump will be addressing the country here March 4th, okay? Now, what does that have to do, if you're new to this whole situation, what does that have to do with Trump media here? Well, it has a lot, because every time, and obviously, we're going to see what happens here. This is no guarantee, but, knowing Trump and like how he talks and how he handles this stuff, here's kind of what I think could potentially happen here. The stock right now is obviously trailing back up. Okay. Now, when he gives this State of the Union, it more than likely will be full of things that Trump is going to address that he hasn't addressed. He's going to pump up the market. He's going to talk about more than likely AI in the market, deals. He's going to essentially pump up our economy, our market, everything. And more than likely, that next day, the market will probably do what I find it hard to believe that like he's going to go say a bunch of bad things. I mean, this isn't like, this isn't a Biden speech where he's just going to say things that the market's like, what did he say? And I'm not trying to get politics here. I'm just like, State of the Unions that we've had and how the markets react to things. Like, this is going to be different here. He's going to talk about bringing jobs, all that kind of stuff, and the market's going to go like, okay. I wouldn't even be, I have no idea if he's going to say this, but I would not be shocked if he said something about rate cuts, because he's already tried this, pushing this on Jerome Powell, pushing rate cuts, and that's when that he did that, like I think it was in January. It was like a week or two went into office. He said like, we're going to do rate cuts, and the market went freaking nuts. And then Jerome Powell came out like the next day and was like, we're not doing rate cuts. And then the market went, meh. So he could do something like that and the market could react to it. Now, why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this because this stock, Trump media here, it is on the pulse of Trump. So the day before, day after, I could easily see this stock, if it starts trailing up here around, like if this stock starts really getting some volume attached to it around March 2nd, 3rd here, I think it's going to be a strong indication that, you know, March 4th into the 5th, the stock's going to do very well. Now, after that, I imagine the stock will probably continue to sell back off, okay? It's a little early to tell. It's a little early to tell, but this could be a situation where it's a pump and dump, okay? Now, for all the people that are in this for the long run, you know, that like the stock, that are with it, I'm not being mean at all. I'm just saying, like, investor to investor, somebody who has watched this stock, talked about the stock for a long time. Listen, I was talking about this stock 2, 3, 4 years ago when it first, like, came to the market as a Digital World acquisition, and like every time I talked about the stock, like, people were making fun of me, giving me death threats. I mean, it was like, and I was like, I'm just talking about the stock. Like, it's a very interesting situation. Whenever have you ever been able to invest in a company that the freaking face of the company is the president? It's a very unique situation. Now with that, you know, it may be time to take profit at that moment. Okay, that's up to you. But if you're bag holding or something, you might have a chance to get out of the stock. If you're not in it and you're looking to get in it fresh, I suspect the stock will start to move up leading up into March here. I suspect it would, knowing the reaction of this stock. Okay, but obviously the market is in a very, you know, delicate situation right now. We're gonna see how these next 2 days play out. So you know, we'll see what happens here. Friends, listen, I'm excited. God, I love the stock market. I'm obsessed with the stock market. I just think about it all the time. I love it. It's just so much fun. It's so much fun when you finally start to figure out the market. You figure out how things work, and, you know, news, you know, just bleeds into the market, and the market reacts to it and what's happening, and you know things that are happening ahead of time, and it's a very special thing for you to have as a person, because you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of most people. You know, people, especially when people are at work or your job or something, and they're talking about, like, you know, blah blah blah, just sank the economy, this, that, and you're like, well, actually, this is what happened. And it's such a great time to be an investor. It's such a great time to be an investor. I mean, you could have been. And this is why, like, Monday, Tuesday, I was harping on, like, buy. Because if you bought certain things at that moment, you're in profit range right now. If you sold out or bought in, whatever you did. And so a lot of you did. I was getting comments today. I was like, that's freaking awesome. So, friends, I'm going to shut up. I wish all of you best of luck. We will see how these next 2 days turn out in the market. No one really knows what's about to happen here. Tomorrow's going to be very interesting. But listen, I am always positive that there's always going to be greener grass into the future with the market, because that is what has showed us to be true time and time again, every year, decade after decade. So, friends, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.